So I think we all can agree that being creative and being creatives is pretty fun, but it's not always easy. You know, there's this perception that all we do is make things look pretty, make words sound good, our heads are up in the clouds, but what we do takes a lot of soul, it takes a lot of heart. We have to tap into something that's bigger than ourselves, and whenever that's disrupted, that creative flow, it really can be disruptive to being able to do your job. It can be impossible to do your job. And it's even worse if you are a woman of color, a woman, a person of color, a member of the LGBTQ community, or any type of community that can be othered. And according to Forbes, 53% of Americans, 53% of Americans are currently unhappy at work. And to me, that sounds like a lot of misery. As creatives, it's really important that we are aware of these red flags and these signs that can be really detrimental to the experience of being in a toxic work environment. And you know, it really varies what these symptoms could look like, depending on the person, depending on the situation, how they look, how they feel, what they sound like. We are going to go over some of the most common. Next slide. So starting off with the big stuff, racism, homophobia, sexism, any form of harassment, that kind of stuff, and even microaggressions, that kind of stuff is pretty terrible by itself. And you know, when you mix it with a work environment that's toxic, it can be even worse. And the next flag is energy vampires. We all know one or two of those people. These are the people that really suck the life out of you. They can just leave you feeling exhausted, drained, just, you know, stressed out for no reason, and you don't even know why. And if you are an individual contributor that works under a leadership team or a client that is very disrespectful, ignorant, or just straight up abusive, this really can take a toll on your well-being and your ability to do your job. Also, anytime you find yourself making yourself small, shrinking, making yourself, limiting your ability to be seen and heard as a way of coping with your toxic environment, that's a sign that it's time for you to change your course of action. So all of these symptoms, combined with being overworked, misused, abused, it really can add up and take a huge toll on your well-being and your ability to do your job. So what can we do about this? How can we transform? How can we overcome these symptoms? How can we change the norm and also protect ourselves and our peace while also doing our jobs well? The first thing you can do is establish boundaries and limitations for yourself. It's up to you to tell people exactly how they're allowed to treat you and how they're not allowed to treat you. The next step is self-care, and I know this is kind of cliche, but it's really important. This can be anything that fills your happiness jar, adds light to your life, makes your heart pitter-patter. Examples could be meditation, exercise, a passion project. I personally love meditation and kickboxing, helps to clear my energy. This is a really big one too, and that big thing you can do is really challenging your company to dismantle the systems that they have in place that aren't creating safe spaces for everyone, for all employees. Make sure you're escalating issues appropriately and holding people accountable, especially if they're in positions of power. And whatever you do, do not stay quiet. I know it's tempting. Reach out to your community, reach out to your network, and they really can provide a safe space for you to be a sounding board and offer advice and guidance. So this next one is really hard. Practicing gratitude. When you're going through work trauma, it's really important for you to ask yourself, what is this experience forcing me to understand and to realize? This really can help you to get out of your head and see the silver lining of things. And if all else fails, you've exhausted all of your resources, and you realize it's a battle that you just can't win, or it's a battle that's going to jeopardize your well-being, it's not worth it. Get out. You can always find another job, or you can even create one for yourself. So how can you transform work-related pain and trauma into something that's meaningful and powerful? Well, I'm living proof that this can happen because you've all just witnessed me giving the talk that I needed to hear earlier in my career. So if you find yourself feeling stuck, either now or in the future, just know that you have what it takes to not only survive, but thrive as a creative in the workplace. Thank you.